I am the Blue Robbie of Side Deck. Yeah, that's a really terrible name. That's not gonna stick. So a lot of you in my comment section have been requesting a side deck discussion video on talking about the side deck cards that you should be siding for the metagame. And I'm gonna be talking about a lot of the side deck choices that we saw at ARG Hartford for the new meta. This is pre-Sky Strikers. We'll do another one of these post-regional season. But this will try to give you a in-depth look at what you should be doing getting ready to go into the next format. So let's dig into this with Bacon Neck Robbie. Alright, Blue Ham Jam back at it again. Stealing your cookie jar. So, talking about the top 5 side deck cards, and an honorable mention at the end, because I really wanted to talk about it in the first place. But first off, evenly matched. Now, I know a lot of you don't want to be hearing this, but if you're not main decking this, you should be siding this to some capacity. This card gives you the ability to fuck your opponent's day, destroy their field, steal a free win, activate some shit during the battle phase, and lose your main phase 1. It's like going to the candy store. You know, if you don't get caught, well, kudos to you. It's a fantastic card that has disruption power, and I know it doesn't have as much power as it once did, but we're back in a format where large board generation is absolutely key to breaking, and if your opponent sets up that unbreakable board, what other fantastic way are you going to be able to take all of your opponent's fucking candy away from them? Evenly Matched is one of those cards. It's very much worth the price tag. They're only continuing to go up at the moment. If you're playing competitively, I'm absolutely sorry to tell you this. This is one of those cards that I almost 100% think that you need in some capacity, whether or not you're playing some roguish deck or not. Cleaning up the boards that your opponent makes, absolutely key. Now, as I said, whether or not you're going first or second, maining it, siding it, it's still a massive powerhouse. Now, you don't 100% need it. There were a lot of side decks that weren't playing it, and they were playing other things. But those other things kind of made an attempt to compensate for this. So there is that. But Evenly is not an be-all, end-all kind of card, but when it resolves, you can bet your fucking ass that you're going into one hell of a better position than you actually were. It's pretty good for trading off your main phase 1 and your battle phase, I personally feel like. Number 2, I talked about this on the top cards that I think you should be having or be investing in, and it is Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries and the appropriate targets. The amount of people that have Winter Cherries in the side deck with a Dragon Buster, Double Helix, and a lot of other things, absolutely beautiful. I didn't see any Soul Days, and as I've said before, the main thing that you kind of want to go for off of Goki combo is Firewall. Now remember, if your opponent has Soul Charge, they'll pretty much be able to recover their entire board, but I kind of feel like that's the trade-off that you make when playing that matchup with Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. And even so much going forward with the Sky Strikers, you know, at least the extra monsters are going to be cheap because they're supers. You know, the Ghost Reaper alternative is a little bit more expensive. You just have to make sure, you know, you have a Double Helix, you have a Firewall. I know it's expensive, and a lot of people can't afford that. You know, you can go the budget route, get in a Soul Day, but if you're playing competitively, you should already have a Firewall, Borreload, and a Saruja. You know, if you Saruja against World Chalice, good job. You pretty much blew them out. But Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries is a fantastic side card. I love cards that I can just activate and totally kill my opponent's strategy, like ABC Dragon Buster, for example. What does your deck do after you get cherries for your Dragon Buster? I mean, you can't shit out a very large boss monster, especially things that I've seen decks be able to make 2 of. No, absolutely not. So, Winter Cherries, spend the money on them. You don't have an excuse. They're pretty much cheap. Unless you're absolutely butt-ass poor, then I guess you have an excuse. But cheers. Spending money on Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one of the best things to ever do. That's my 2 cents on cherries. Not really much more to put out there. Now, the next one, there are 2 here. Wiretap and Red Reboot. Altergeist is a pain in everybody's ass. Their constant use of trap cards, their constant use of setting trap cards, fucking, the deck is an asshole-ish nightmare. from hell. Get it? But Red Reboot gives you the ability to totally shut off your opponent's entire trap board for the entire turn. And let's be real here. Red rebooting and watching your opponent set evenly matched kind of sucks. Just, I don't know. That's another thing. Like if your opponent has Red Reboot, you can set an evenly matched from their deck. And I also saw a discussion on this as well. It's like, why is your opponent not setting evenly matched from their deck if you're Red Rebooting them? Most decks aren't able to recover from that sort of board, which is absolutely very true. Not being able to recover from those boards is key. But shutting off your opponent's entire trap lineup for a turn with Red Reboot is great. You can activate it from your hand for half your life points. I mean, that's value. On the flip side, you have Wiretap. It's a counter trap card. You have to set it, unfortunately, for it to be the passive. But being able to have it be cost-free, shuffle it back into the opponent's deck, and remove it from the field, it's kind of a trade-off. That seems to be our phrase of this video. It's a trade-off because you can take away something that you can activate from your hand by half your life points, and then you have something else that you can passively set and watch your opponent try to counter it. Both are excellent cards, 100%. But it's just kind of pick your own poison. I saw both inside decks all weekend, so it's kind of up to you to choose which path you want to go down. And we're going to a brief intermission because I really can't sit here for much longer. Effect Veiler and Infinite Impermanence. Another one of those fantastic pick your poison cards. So you can spend a lot of money on Effect Veiler, or a lot of money on Infinite Impermanence. But let's be real here. You're only going to do that because you can resolve Multi-Fake or turn one off of it with Siliquidos. Saw a lot of people making a lot of choices between Effect Veiler and this. At least you have a cheap budget alternative between the one that can cancel out turn one and turn one. Great thing is you can play both of them in tangent to each other and further disrupt what your opponent's going to do. The only real thing off of Effect Veiler is it's a tuner you can normal summon, and Infinite Impertinence is a trap card that can also negate something else in the same column as it if it was set. It's a trade-off. Both of them are excellent cards for what they do. On the downside, one of them is a lot of money. Thank you, Yu-Gi-Oh! One of them you also need if you're playing Altergeist. I think both of them are a fantastic option to any side deck right now. Being able to Effect Veiler or stop in a Soul Day from combo extending or anything is absolutely beautiful. Maybe stopping a Firewall. It kind of depends. You just have to know which card you need to stop, where you need to stop what, and put yourself into a much better position. It's all about timing and activation of these cards. I mean, they're hand traps, they're powerful cards. Just pick your poison and know what you're going to do. And the last card I want to talk about for side decks is Called by the Grave. Now, Called by the Grave is another one of those, if you're not main decking it, you should be siding it type of cards, especially if you're playing a combo deck. Things like Goki, things like Spirals, they all have one thing in common. A couple hand traps, you're going to have a bad time. If you can resolve a Called by the Grave and effectively shut off your opponent's hand trap, you're going to be in a much better position. Now, my problem with the hand trap mentality here is you're drawing a card to stop your opponent from having an out. So you're having an out to an out. And I have a weird mentality when it comes to this sort of card. It's fantastic. I think you have to play it if you're playing combo deck. But the mentality of having a stop to a stop or the counter to a counter just kind of annoys me. Maybe it's because I'm thinking of a counter to a counter to a counter, but there's just that. But in terms of combo ability, and your whole deck being a fragile house, you know, one little wind and you could be dead, you have to have the Call by the Grave. And then honorable mention. There were a lot of other side deck cards that were being played. And the one I saw the most of outside of these was Droll and Lockbird. Droll and Lockbird is, you activate it, you resolve it, you know, much like our friends Trickstar, who are already playing that shit because Reincarnation, you know, kudos to you. But being able to resolve it on a Spiral player or a Goki player to take your next turn, so literally take your base type of thing, the card is fantastic, and somewhere along the way I might consider this to be better, depending on where the metagame advances. But you have a lot of choices here, and a lot of decisions you have to make if you're going to an event. And there are other things that other people are playing that aren't even on this list. You know, these are just the top things through today's metagame. And you yourself are going to have to make this committed decision on just how you want to play your side deck. But these are currently the biggest choices dedicated to the current metagame. Do you guys have anything you want to add? Blue Robbie of the meta would like to hear it down below in the comment section. Now, if you don't mind, I have a date with my toilet, and Old Yeller's been waiting. Alright guys, have a good rest of your day. I don't actually have a date with my toilet. That's disgusting. Peace out, guys. The ride never ends, guys. Make sure you enable those notifications to get the latest videos that are being posted on this channel. Make sure you guys check out VanCole40 for my Cardfight Vanguard channel. And join me and House of Champions on the Zodiac Duelist TV Twitch stream. We'll be interacting with our audiences. And please check out No Limit Gaming and LGTCG.com for the cheapest trading cards on the market. Thanks for watching, guys, and please have a good day.